towards the top of the draft. That's Travis Kelce. And we're going to include Sam LaPorta in this in a little player versus player. Kelce is up 0.8 spots, 15.7. Sam LaPorta is down 1.6 spots to 15.7. I think this is the first time all offseason that Kelce has gone ahead of LaPorta. Anthony, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Kelce is my tight end one going into this year. You look at the finishes over the last 5 years, third, first, second, first. And by the way, that third was a down year. So I think that this offense is going to be better than it was last year. I don't think they're going to need to, rely on the defense as much. I think Mahomes is the number one quarterback. So, Anthony, I said enough. I'll go to you. We'll talk about LaPorta, of course. He's ranked as my tight end 2, was a tight end 1 last year. Actually, one little quick thing I'll bring up, Anthony. The only question I have about LaPorta is, can he recreate double-digit touchdowns? And I went to look at this. We haven't had a quarterback. We haven't had a tight end have back-to-back years with 10 touchdowns since Rob Gronkowski in 2015 and 2016. So if he's not getting the touchdowns, where's the tight end 1 coming from? Anthony, what says you on these two players?
Yeah, so Kelce is also my tight end 1. My tight end 2 is actually Mark Andrews. Then I have LaPorta slated in number 3. Now, if we look at how they finished last year, obviously Kelce was the tight end 1, but the tight end 3 in points per game. Kelce was opposite. Kelce was a tight end 3 overall, but the tight end 1 in points per game. So even on a down year for Travis Kelce, he was the number 1 tight end in points per game. And some people think, well, he regressed because he's getting older. What people forget is that he entered the season with a lower body injury that seemed to linger.
It was a knee injury, I believe.
Yeah. Kelce in the playoffs looked like the elite version of Travis Kelce. Now, granted, he did not play week 18. That seemed that extra bye week obviously helped him out. And then he comes out against Miami with 14 PPR points. And then he just went off 24.5 against Buffalo, 29.1 against Baltimore, 18.3 in the Super Bowl. Very tough defenses, especially Baltimore and San Francisco. And Travis Kelce arguably played 2 of his best games, which shows me, okay, he still has some gas left in the tank. Yeah. Now, when it comes to all of the other metrics, Kelce's right up there in targets, target share, number 3 in deep targets, number 2 in red zone targets, number 1 in catchable target rate, number 4 in yards after the catch. So let's kick it over to Sam LaPorta and why I'm kind of discounting Sam LaPorta. If you look at all of Travis Kelce's best seasons, and he was the tight end 1 or tight end 2, like you alluded to, in points per game every year since 2016. Most of those seasons, in fact, every one of those seasons, he's gone for at least 1,038 yards. Sam LaPorta, 889, does not crack 900. I am a little bit worried about the yardage for Sam LaPorta, because if he's not getting the yardage, then we're drafting him number 1 overall tight end, chasing those 10 touchdowns. And like you said, that's more of an outlier. Kansas City last year, number 2 in team pass plays. Even in a bad year, they still threw the hell out of the football. So we know what this offense is going to be, where Detroit, they still want to run the ball. Now, they were middle of the pack. I don't believe they're going to see an uptick. I think they want a nice balanced rushing attack. With Jameson Williams, he's having a good camp, getting some hype. With him getting acclimated in this offense, does that take away some opportunities for Sam LaPorta? We know Kelce's going to get his. And I get that they brought in a couple new receivers. Travis Kelce's going to get his. He always gets his no matter what. So when it's all said and done, like, my biggest worry, we know, I know what Kelce's going to do. He does it every year. And unless he gets hurt or falls off the cliff, we're going to get a top 2 season out of Travis Kelce. Where Sam LaPorta, I think that tight end 1 year overall was a little bit of fool's gold.
So I think it's pretty clear Anthony and I are in favor of Travis Kelce. Steve or Pete, if either of you want to make a case for LaPorta, you can feel free to do so. If not, if you're on our end, we can move on to the next player. But do either of you have anything to say about Sam LaPorta in favor of, or do you think that this is kind of the hype is now we're starting to see less hype, we're starting to see more reality with these moving in ADP?
Steve, I mean, I can add to it, but if you want to go first, I don't have much to say.
William Stevens says, how much do you think the Chiefs try to preserve Kelce for the playoffs? I mean, that's one of the concerns with Kelce. I think, he's 34 years old. He got hurt last year, so that affected his production. But he's getting older. But then you could say, look at Tony Gonzalez, and he was a beast, all the way down to the day he retired. So, and Kelce certainly performed down the stretch in the biggest spot. So maybe they kind of, soft him up a little bit during the season, gear him up as they get down. They got Worthy now, they got Hollywood Brown, but he's probably moving up over LaPorta now because LaPorta's got the hammy. Hollywood Brown's hurt now for Kansas City, so Kelce's moving back to that one spot. But yeah, I do think LaPorta, third or fourth round, it's kind of tough because Jameson Williams, like Anthony said, should have a bigger role. And then you got these other guys behind him too that are very nice, like Andrews, McBride, Dalton Kincaid as well. So it's like to take Sam LaPorta number one every single time, which seems to happen in most best ball drafts. Now that's changing a little bit now, but it's just like we get caught into these rhythms of drafting. And I certainly like Sam LaPorta's talent a ton, but for him to go number one every time just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Before we go to the next player too, I think a product of to answer that question about are they preserving him for the playoffs, which I get at this stage in Kelce's career, that is a legitimate thing. But I do think that had more to do with the injuries involved that Anthony mentioned at the top of the season. So I think if Kelce walks into this year not injured, not dinged up, ready to roll, I don't think that they're really going to try and preserve him. I think they're just going to roll as the Chiefs have rolled up until last year when they took on a defensive minded team and a more so running game. So we're